There are only a couple of events each year in the off-campus student housing industry that brings all of the industry leaders together. The premier event for the industry is the Interface Student Housing Conference in Austin, Texas. For 2023, this event is being held April 3rd through 5th and will draw over 1,000 attendees and a complete who's who list of executives from the management, development, and investment firms under one roof at the JW Marriott in Austin for 3 days of sessions, roundtables, and networking. So who are some of the folks attending this year's Interface Conference? Well, let's meet one of them right now. So Dean, I hear you're going to Austin.
Yes, sir, I am. We're heading down there for really probably the 8th or 9th time that we've been so far. So excited about it. I guess you're going too?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there for sure. Yeah. I've got something Sunday night that I've got to do, and I did not realize that this year, because it's always been, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
That's right.
And this year they put it on the front end. I'm assuming because, Good Friday and Easter is the next week.
That's
and I
right.
wanted to make sure people had plenty of time to get back home. And so I booked this or got tickets to this comedian that my wife loves. And so we're doing that on Sunday night. And then I realized I started putting the calendar together and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I usually try to get there the day before. Yeah. And so now I'm leaving the morning of, so I'm a little bit nervous.
No delays allowed. That's dangerous.
No. And because we're doing something we're doing a luncheon that, of course you're a sponsor of. And so I do have a backup in case anything happens.
Yeah, nice.
It's something that, it's giving me a little bit of anxiety for sure. Well, hey, for those that don't know, you're with Smarter Furnishings, which used to be AUS or Appalachian University Systems. And, I want to talk a little bit about that. But for those that have, no idea about Smarter Furnishings, give us kind of that 30 to 90-second elevator pitch, if you would.
Yeah, sure. And to address the AUS Smarter Furnishings, I hope that's never confusing to people. We're still AUS, have been for 30 years. But during COVID, I don't think it was out of boredom. I think we really had some intention behind it. We rebranded to Smarter Furnishings, so that's our lead in now. So we're DBA Smarter Furnishings all the way, but it's still the same ownership with AUS, same group for 30 years now. Yeah, but as far as the so-called 30-second speech, forget the sales pitch aside. What I really do try to encourage people when they're considering our company to make it a swap or they're new to the industry, whatever, very sincerely, if someone wants to use a company where they can place an order and they can forget about it, they don't have to think about it again until it's delivered and installed. I really do sincerely believe we're that company. And I don't think that's just talk. I think that we, for 30 years, we've had on-time deliveries, and that was even during the pandemic. And you can ask any customer of ours if that's the case, and they'll verify that's true. And it's not just that it's going to deliver on time. We also do a lot of pride in our installation services. We don't outsource that, which is frankly very unique. They're our own guys. You'll see if you order a furnace from us West, you'll have 12 to 15 clean cut guys installing it. And that's why we've come up with that slogan with Smarter Furnishings. You might have seen it on LinkedIn with Rest Easy, and the idea behind resting easy is you don't have to think about it again after you place the order. That's kind of what all that means.
I think this is actually the first year that I'm using you guys for an installation, and that kind of came on the heels of another property that I was providing asset management services for. We had a manager that was, going to have to move into one of the apartments for a few months, and that management company, reached out to you and said, "Hey, we've got somebody moving in a couple of weeks," and you guys had no problem getting it there on time. It was literally, we've made the phone call. Now we don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
And I was kind of stressing out about it. I didn't think we were going to get it in time.
Yeah, that's not the intention behind what you're saying or the question, but I will say that I think it's worth noting to anybody that we carry on average about $1 million worth of inventory, and those are just some core items. So that was just a bedroom or two you're talking about, but we could furnish anywhere from 150 to 300 bedrooms within about a week's notice. So we
Oh,
That's a service we utilize quite a bit because people things come up. Yours is 1 or 2 bedrooms. Some people have 100 bedroom. Oopsie daisy. So yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. You guys are actually based in Birmingham, Alabama,
That's
correct?
right. That's right.
How much of, and I always ask anybody that's involved, from a furniture standpoint, and supplying our industry with furniture, how much of that is coming offshore? How much of that is, something that's, manufactured or put together here? Just want to kind of understand that a little bit.
Man, that's a great question and a fair question. Especially when we just got through that. I think the worst is behind us. That horrible shipping and supply chain climate that
Yeah.
impacted everybody. I'm not talking just furniture, just everything you have in your house. It was a tough one. Yeah. So I can't speak for everybody else, but how we function is we do have a group based in Southeast Asia. We have our own team over there. Really 23 strong. And that ranges all the way from the furniture engineers to our ops manager down to multiple QC people on the floor, checking every piece of furniture. So all of our case goods, that's anything not soft, from chest, desk, tables, etc. That does come from our factory partner that we're very embedded in Southeast Asia. And then our soft seating, we do manufacture here. We do buy some component parts like the PVC, for example, in Asia, bring it over here. That's kind of all behind the scenes. But they're just truly manufactured here in the U.S. And our mattresses are we manufacture those here in the U.S. And so that's kind of the balance we're trying to strike with the supply factor of all that. And we won't disclose too much on the podcast, but we're diversifying even outside of Asia as well. The pandemic did teach us to really make sure you're protected. Although we had not trying to be immodest here, we had still a very successful supply chain even during COVID. But it took some years off our life, though. I mean, it was a big fat pain. And so so we have diversified. We were in the process of doing that anyway, but that just expedited some plans we had just to make sure we're not just stuck if anything comes up again.
Yeah, gotcha. So, as you mentioned earlier, this is your 8th interface that you're going to. So,
at least.
Yeah, you're definitely a pro at this. Is there anything for our audience that maybe they haven't gone to interface before that you would say, hey, make sure you take part of this? What is it about this conference you really like?
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one to me. I mean, what other place can you go to in let's say April, where every single major player of your customers, your potential customers, your suppliers, all going to be in one area? And what better city to have it than in Austin? I mean, who doesn't love that city? Just the music, the great restaurants, the food. I would suspect most people know about this, but just in case, I mean, now, have you ever been to the Bat Show over on Congress Avenue?
Yeah. I mean, I know of it. I haven't actually.
Oh, yes.
I know where it's at, but I haven't actually gone to.
Please go.
To spend a lot of time.
Unless you're scared of bats. But
it's kind of funny. My sister actually just put something on Facebook. It was a memory of like 5 or 6 years ago of we were at my parents' house. It must have been Easter, I guess, or some reason we were all at my parents' house. And there was a bat that we caught in their house. They've got this, or at that time they were living in this log cabin that they had built. And so that wasn't the first time that happened. But anyway, she posted it. And of course, we homeschool our kids. She homeschools her kids. And that day became a, impromptu homeschool day. Nice. And that poor little bat had, no idea that he was going to spend time in a jar looking at kids for 30 minutes before he got released.
I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do recall that they estimate there's somewhere around 2 million bats that come here. And what happens is they fly south. They're Mexican bats, is what they're called. They fly south, for the winter. And so, they come up from under that bridge. Well, you got to see it, man. It's like a black cloud, literally.
Oh, wow.
It just hovers over. It's pretty cool. So if you haven't seen the bats, go see the bats. You can go to Austin. So it's you can go most any night and look at it. So
I was going to say, I'm assuming, somewhere towards dusk or
that's right.
thereabouts, that's when
Yeah, that's
you've got
exactly
to be
right.
there.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So
Well,
that's a fun one. And if you haven't done that, take 1 hour to do it so you can say you did it. And
yeah. Yeah.
that's kind of the social part. The only thing I'd encourage people to do, to curb of course, our own team members who are going, whether they've been there 8 times or one time, first time, whatever, is like, don't be bashful about talking to people. I mean, if you know how this works, Wes. I mean, people are so open, whether they're the founder or CEO of a major developer or what have you, or just their first time. They're just open to talk to you. That I found out. I found there are people very open to help, not necessarily trying to land a deal. Just go get to know people, build a
Yeah.
relationship. That's what I encourage our own team members to do, and certainly anybody else.
Let me ask you a little bit in regards to, obviously, over the past couple of years, you guys have had this transition from AUS to Smarter, as far as from a branding standpoint. But is there anything that you guys have got coming up that you're going to be announcing either this next year or maybe something that's just recently happened?
Yeah, we have found. I know that's probably a pretty standard question for you and for people, and they just maybe a little bit to share, not much to share, but we really have the last 2 years, year and a half, we have actually, quite frankly, found a completely different way to go to develop partnerships with our developers, both existing ones and pursuing new ones. And I'm not going to share the details of that. One is pretty involved, and two, that's really we're trying to share that just with specific developers. But let me tell you the consequences of it. So we have taken our existing customers, and these are customers that are really buying anywhere from $1 million to $5 million per year, and we have saved a specific customers, not in aggregate. I mean, specific customers, hundreds of thousands of dollars of this new way that we're partnering with people.
Okay.
And it's not just the money savings, which is the big win, but I think a close second is so for instance, so we supply hundreds of peoples of turn furniture throughout the country in the summertime. And us included, sometimes they're down to the wire. We're getting furniture at our distribution center in Birmingham. We're flipping it about the next day. Is tight. But this year, because of these partnerships and the way we're going to market with this and the way we're executing these partnerships, we will have the vast majority, I'm talking about 90% plus, of all of our turn portfolio in our facility in Birmingham by the 1st of May. We have a
Wow.
lot of it here right now currently. A lot of it's on the water about to hit this next month. And so again, I'm not going to disclose how we're doing that exactly. There's kind of some private conversations we're having with specific developers, but we're excited about it. I think it's very unique. I've never heard anybody else doing it, what we're doing. So hopefully that's a teaser for anybody who's listening. But we're thankful we've come up with this, and so I think the results kind of speak for itself.
Yeah. Now, there's typically some, university folks that are, especially, from the housing side, that are typically attending this conference as well. Now, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I believe you guys actually got your start with actually supplying for the universities, correct?
That's right. And we're, that ratio has shifted quite a bit. Probably 15 years ago, we were probably 70-30, 70% on campus, 30 off. We somehow got to 50-50, and now it's probably inverted. We're probably 70% off campus. It's just because it's been such a massive booming sector of the society, the off-campus portion. But no, we're still doing dozens and dozens of on campuses throughout the country, especially the Southeast where we're based. And so we do a lot of we still do a fair share of on campus projects as well.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate the time that you've spent with me today and kind of helping our audience along with things that they need to take care of or things that they need to do while they're in Austin. But let's talk really quick about how folks can get in touch with you, maybe set up an appointment in advance because, when we get there, we've all got appointments that we're trying to make. So it's great to get those appointments in advance. How's the best way for them to get a hold of you or schedule something with you?
Yeah. So if you would, you can put our booth number in the meeting notes. It's 806 is our booth number. And then also, I've sent you a calendar link. If it's not too much trouble, you can put the is that possible for you to do that? And
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah. So you can book a 20-minute session with us Monday through Tuesday. We've already got one booking actually this morning. One popped up from 8 to 8:20. But we're trying to make, besides our sponsorship that we're doing with your folks and over lunch on Monday, between the 4 team members we'll have, we think we could have as much availability as possible Monday and Tuesday, 8 to 5, with the exception of that lunch that we're doing with you on Monday. So they can go to the calendar, book. I mean, it takes 30 seconds to book 20 minutes, or you can just drop by. So hopefully that will be convenient for you guys.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you here in a couple of weeks. And, until then, watch out for the bats.
Hey, man, thanks for all you do for the industry. I mean that. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. You guys were kind of first to reach out when I got started with this, and sponsored a couple of events that we did, and I really appreciate that. That's this thing's come a long way since then.
Yes, you have, and you deserve it. I appreciate it so much. You take care.
All right, take care, team.
Bye now.